Hello, this is Becca Michael, and I wanted to talk through a couple of concepts for the week 14 assignment. I've gotten a lot of questions about it. I've responded to some of them, but I thought this video could answer some questions. So what you're looking at now is a rudimentary design of what could be week 14 assignment. The obvious things are food and exercise. You've got to enter 20 food items with calorie per ounce, maybe a description, and then exercise. You've got to enter in 10 different exercises and the calories per minute. So those are kind of no-brainers. The rest of it's a little strange. You probably want a person table, all the people who are participating in your weight loss challenge, and really just a name, but maybe you want some contact information. You need to keep track of their daily totals and their kind of meal transactions and their activity transactions. And then you have to keep track of their original weight and their current weight. And there's, in the requirements, I say that you need to calculate the weight. I don't mean, and the daily totals. I don't mean that this has to be done automatically. An option for that to be done automatically is through a database trigger. If you figure out how to do that, I will give you extra credit. Otherwise, you have to figure it out through an insert or an update statement, and you'll have to have some functions to calculate that information based on the transaction tables and based on their original weight. So, wanted you to take a look at this, which is just a very basic design. I don't want this to be your design, but this will give you a starting point. Now, after you have this, I want you to go through and insert some information, because then once you're messing around with the data and you try to see what you have and what you need to calculate, you can change the database design to be better for your calculations. Right now, this database design makes it very difficult to figure out the total calories, calories burned, and calories consumed for the day, and to update those. And the same for the weight. But I wanted to remind you that you can do a database diagram. You just right click and do a new database diagram, and you can pull these in. And you can create relationships. You can create primary keys. One thing that I would have to do on food transactions, because all tables have to have a primary key, is I would have to create a primary key. Just did it. And then you save it. The other thing that I would have to do is create relationships. I can right click on this and go to relationships. I've already created 2 relationships, but just to remind you, you go to table and column specific, and then you choose the primary key table, which is kind of the table of truth, and the column name, and then the table that you're on, the column name. And then you close that and save it as well. If I made a change. If you look at, I was asked if insert statements are the easiest way to do this. So here are my create table statements. That's a trigger. Also, I have an insert here. You can basically copy your insert statements. You will have to do insert statements. You can copy them and then just kind of change the data however you need it. And then once you have all the insert statements, you can run them all at once in here by executing them. If you just have insert statements you haven't run, you don't have to run them one at a time like this. Oh, and I violated a primary key. I've got to change that. It should be an identity. Ooh. All right, let's see what's wrong with this. Ah, All right, so this is a foreign, so this is no longer a primary key, this is a foreign key. Cheerios, because Cheerios is listed in my food table, I would want that in there. Since I have a foreign key relationship from food, since I have a foreign key relationship from food transactions food to the food table name, every food that I have in an insert statement into my food transactions table has to already exist in the food table. So here I have Cheerios, and there I had Cheeries. It wasn't spelled correctly. But once you get that down, it's really not a big deal to copy these and insert 20 different foods. It's these transaction tables that you will have to kind of figure out. So this could be very time consuming, and what's more time consuming is the person weight values. And I said that people would be giving you what they did. They would probably do it weekly, and this is for a month. So you would insert 7 days for them for food transactions and exercise transactions weekly, and then you would do reporting on it monthly. So the reporting would be a select statement. So I don't have enough information in here for the monthly reporting, but let's say that I want to select star from the person daily total table. Okay, so let's say we have a lot. So I'm going to do it by person, where person equals Michael. And then these, what I was saying about it, it should look nice. These column names are kind of database-y, right? So I would probably want to say select person as name, total day as date, total calories as let's say day calories, I don't know, calories burned as calories, whoops, calories burned and calories consumed, whoops, as calories consumed. Alright, so now let's see it. So now we have nice column names. You probably want to uppercase the first letter. Either way, when you run it, if you want to export it to Excel, you left click here at the top and then right click and do save results as, and you can save results as a CSV file. There's a couple of options, but you want to do a CSV to import it into Excel, and do results.csv, and then you import that into Excel. I don't have Excel up. Interesting. Go to Excel whenever it and you can just open it up like anything else. A CSV should open just fine. However, if you have some special data in there, you may need to import it. but you probably not for this assignment. You should have integers, not decimals. So you just open it up and display it in Excel. I also said that I would give you extra credit if you figure out how to do a chart in Excel based on some of the values that you have, some of the result tables. If you figure out how to do that and save it in Excel and submit it, I will give you extra credit. The other thing I will give you extra credit for is doing a database trigger on a table to automatically update some of these tables, like person's weight. So if we take a look at the person weight, if the current weight should change based on what you put in to these food transactions and these activity transactions whenever you decide what the calculation is to lose a pound or gain a pound. And you just document that. It doesn't matter if it really makes sense or not, as long as you have it documented so that I can see it. So you can just update this table. You can also just update the daily total table, or whatever you decide to do for some kind of total, to say the calories that are burned and the total calories for that day. But you can also have an update statement in a database trigger, and that database trigger would be in food transactions and in activity transactions in this example. So, you should compile, even if you do the work in the diagram, you should create the insert, create statements, all of your update statements, anything that you have, all into one big window. So here I have my create table statements. I would then have my inserts and updates and anything else that I have to give me my final results for a month's worth of data for food transactions and activity transactions. And it should be in order so that I can see, okay, you inserted this on week 1, inserted this on week 2, and then you did your select statements to get the information out. Again, I need the status report this week, but I have extended the deadline for this assignment until next week. So your status report is just where are you at with this assignment? Do you have an initial database design? And I say initial because as you work with it, you're probably going to want to change it. So you want to allow yourself to change this. But do you have an initial database design? I would expect that you would be inserting data and trying to figure out the best way to do it at this point. So that's due this Sunday, and then next Sunday, the entire thing is due. This will be our last assignment before the final. So please, when you submit your status reports this Sunday, ask me any questions that you have. Let me know if you're struggling with something, and I could give you information with whatever you're struggling with so that you're prepared not only for the assignment but for the final. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you soon.